Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hello Word, the podcast where we explore the fascinating world of English, one word at a time. I'm your host, Alex, and I'm thrilled to have you join me today. Today's word is clause, a B1 level noun meaning a grammatical unit in a sentence. So, what exactly is a clause? Well, in simple terms, a clause is a group of words that contains both a subject and a verb. It's a fundamental building block of sentences. Think of it as a mini sentence within a larger sentence. Understanding clauses is crucial for constructing and comprehending more complex sentences. Now, let's look at how we use clause in everyday language. We often talk about dependent clauses and independent clauses. An independent clause can stand alone as a sentence, while a dependent clause cannot. For example, I went to the store is an independent clause. But because I needed milk is a dependent clause, it needs to be attached to something else to make sense. Let's explore some synonyms for clause. One synonym is phrase. However, remember that while a phrase is a group of words, it doesn't necessarily contain both a subject and a verb, whereas a clause always does. Here's a sentence using phrase. The quick brown fox is a noun phrase. Another synonym is segment. It emphasizes a division of a longer text. Example, the contract was divided into several segments, each addressing a specific issue. Now, let's look at some antonyms. It's a bit tricky to find direct antonyms for a grammatical term like clause. However, if we think about what a clause is and what it isn't, we can consider something like fragment. A fragment is an incomplete sentence, lacking either a subject or a verb, or both. It's the opposite of a complete thought. Example, running quickly. This is a fragment because it doesn't have a subject. Another concept that contrasts with clause is word. A word is a single unit of language, while a clause is a group of words. Example, dog is a word, whereas the dog barked is a clause. How can we use clause in everyday life? Well, if you're writing an email, you might say, I'm sending this email because I wanted to clarify the meeting time. The part because I wanted to clarify the meeting time is a clause. Or, if you're explaining grammar to someone, you could say, a clause must have a subject and a verb to be complete. Let's look at some more usage examples. The lawyer carefully examined each clause in the contract. The sentence contains a main clause and a subordinate clause. She added a clause to the agreement to protect her interests. Although it was raining, I went for a walk. Although it was raining is an example of an introductory clause. The clause stipulating payment terms was heavily debated. In phrases, you might hear escape clause, which is a clause in a contract allowing someone to get out of the agreement under certain conditions. For example, they included an escape clause in case the project failed. Let's recap. A clause is a grammatical unit containing a subject and a verb. It's a crucial element in sentence construction. While phrase and segment can be considered synonyms in certain contexts, fragment and word offer contrasting ideas. Understanding clauses will help you write and understand more complex sentences. That brings us to the end of today's Hello Word episode. I hope you found it informative and helpful. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Your support helps others discover the show. Now, for your homework, I encourage you to create your own sentence using the word clause and share it as a comment under the video. I'm excited to see what you come up with. See you next time on Hello Word. Remember that clear communication relies on understanding even the smallest parts of a sentence, like a clause. Let's strive for clarity in our expressions. Until next time, happy learning. Don't forget to practice using clause in your everyday conversations. The more you use it, the more comfortable you'll become with this important grammatical concept.